Hello and welcome. Today I'm going to chat about the IT tsunami that is drowning parenthood, but particularly for children under 7. Do you know it's only been around 4 years since the first iPad came out, which has of course been followed by all the other copies and tablets and goodness knows what. So in actual fact, for research to show the impact that can have on young children's development is only just starting to flow through. So as you know, I'm the queen of common bloody sense. So I'm going to go through some of the things that I want you to be aware of for children under 5, but particularly children under 3. Those of you who aren't aware, your baby's brain when it's born is full of lots of neurons and no connectors. So every single activity that your child does, it builds a connector which allows it to learn, which allows it then to build on prior learning when it learns other tasks. I think you can see where I'm going, can't you? So my concern is when I'm at airports now, I see little ones and I'm saying just sitting, so that's 9 months roughly, with an iPad that they are totally absorbed in and they miss the giant aeroplane landing outside the window. Why is that a problem? Okay, how your child interacts with the world is how their brain shapes. So if children are not using all of their senses, and you'll know that little ones often put things in their mouth, or that's often how they interpret how taste is. They're not using all their senses to interpret the world. They are not going to have the same brain development as someone who's using a screen. So once again, keep your kids as immersed in the real world for as long as you can in those early years, and you can have the screens around the edges. And that's a really important thing for you to remember. Why do our kids get so absorbed in the screens? There's 2 reasons. The first thing is they model off you. That's what you're doing. That's what they're going to want to do. And the second thing is rapidly moving images actually make a child pay attention. And if you watch anything that's been created for children under 5, it has more rapidly moving images than adult shows and programs because it wants the child to keep watching. Okay, so that's one of the other things you need to remember. Why are they really useful? If you're about to throw your children out on the road because you've had enough of them on a long trip, I'd be dragging out any tablet, iPad, anything I had and giving it to them. I wouldn't give it to them at the beginning of the trip, because I really believe we need to have I Spy, we need to have songs in the car, we need to have activities we play with other people in the car, because that's actually giving your child what we call sound saturation, which they need to be able to read later. Remember this fact, 3.5-year-old and under cannot take sound off any screen, they only take it off a moving face of a human being. After 3.5, they do take sound off, and I'm sure some of you have got a little one in your house who has a Spanish accent because they watch a lot of Dora. The next thing is with the screens, make sure it's not overly available. Make sure they earn it as a privilege. It's not a right, it's a privilege. And if you are also starting to get crabby and tired, use your screens. Please use them. Have yourself a break. It's a bit like the TV used to be a babysitter. If you can remember, as little screen time as possible under 3, immerse your children in real human experiences because they are wired to be human. Interact it around the edges. Make sure, and this is the funny bit the research tells us, you're trying to buy programs, games and apps that are educational. I know you are, because we want our kids to be smart. What's really interesting is they don't find them all that good. What really is actually the best way to use your screens is to get them to do things creatively. So it mimics real play. So don't be tempted just to make them smart. Think, what can make my child be more creative thinkers and problem solvers? And as everything else, keep it in moderation and make sure that you've got safe parental controls on them, because our kids are still getting into stuff that I wouldn't want anyone under 5 seeing. So once again, some common sense tips from the research I've been doing lately. And that's all for now.